thank you so much for the kind introduction. I am really excited to be here today and to talk about the power of personal branding, because I believe that personal branding is the new employer branding. Is that actually true? Yes, it is. And in a second, we're going to see my presentation. I would like to show you in more detail. If you're wondering, yeah, we've experimented so much with certain aspects and I want to grow my talent, but I find it so hard to stand out or to be different, well, you're definitely at the right place. If you say, oh, my competition gets so much attention online, what am I doing wrong? Or if you think, yeah, screw those consultants who preach, just start, it doesn't work that way. Maybe there's something that you don't know or don't understand, but what you truly want is to be more attractive as an employer and empower your talent. Then you're definitely at the right space here today, because my goal is to help two types of people. On the one side, employer branding beginners, on the other side, companies who already work with it. My magic tool is personal branding, the ThinkNatalia method. It is a holistic approach from the inside out, from offline to online. I could talk just about this for approximately 4 hours. So no, as we only have approximately 20-25 today, I'm going to spare you with that, but we're going to have a look at a few crucial aspects of it. Who am I and what do I do? My name is Natalia Wiechowski, also known as Dr. Nat, the LinkedIn marketing unicorn. That's my unicorn. It just flies through the screen. I'm originally German and live now in the United Arab Emirates in Dubai for 13 years. I'm a speaker. I'm an edutainer. I give my best to stand out of the, let's say, other service providers when it comes to LinkedIn marketing. I give my best to empower people to share their story in an authentic way, to express who they truly are, and of course, through that, get more visibility, more leads, and more clients through a platform like LinkedIn. And I do that by writing, by speaking, by coaching, consulting. Okay, but how did it all start? Well, I studied social science and philosophy, and then I realized, well, that's all nice, but I'm not happy with what I do. So I first worked in education, and then I worked in marketing. And at the age of 29, when the 30 was on the big horizon, I realized, you know what? I need to change a lot. So I quit my safe job to go on a sabbatical and to reinvent myself. I started my company and I literally failed myself up to the person that I am today. And I realized that I love to tell stories and to encourage others to get more visibility and to talk about what's important to their heart as well. And before we get into the topic, I have a short surprise or a competition for you. One lucky winner will win a 30 minutes coaching session with me. How does it work? Simply talk about my speech or this event on LinkedIn, take some screenshots of this session or use slides of this PowerPoint presentation, tag me at Dr. Natalia Wiechowski and use the hashtag ThinkNatalia. Oh, the deadline. Sorry, we need to change that. We're going to keep you updated, but don't worry about it. We'll make sure that we communicate it to you. And yeah, I mean, that's basically everything you need to know about it. I'm really looking forward to your content and your impressions of this event, and then we take it from there. Okay, what else do we have? Today's focus of today's presentation. First, personal branding, the new employer branding, the why and what to make, or what you need to know in order to make it work. Then we're going to talk about it's a win-win situation, the benefits for both parties. Then lastly, the power of LinkedIn. How do you get started? I hope you're as excited as I am. Okay. Employer branding, wait, personal branding is the new employer branding? Natalia, what do you mean? This is what I mean. we need to start with how societies changed, and not only societies, but also our human behavior. We, as human beings, are in a world that is more complex, is more uncertain, and there's more ambiguity. There's a new leadership style that is demanded from people in positions that might have been managers before. We went through a paradigm shift. The average user or talent seems to be a little bit more empowered. Some people would call it opinionated. And the consumers are a little bit disappointed by what they see regularly on social media. The big scandals, politicians don't do what they promised before. So there's a lot of change going on right now. What we really need, what we crave at the moment is trust, authenticity, honesty. We want to see real faces and connection. And these are just some reasons why personal branding becomes the new employer branding. But what on earth is personal branding? Some people call it a self-marketing approach, impression management, a career insurance, a self-leadership, or a communications tool. The best quote when it comes to branding, I believe, comes from Seth Godin, who said something along the lines of, a brand is a set of expectations, memories and stories that, taken together, account for a consumer's decision to choose one product or service over another. Interesting. And when we then talk about personal branding, we talk about people. That's it. Which means, well, we all have a personal brand, if you like it or not, because you cannot not communicate. We know that since Paul Watzlawick. So you have a personal brand. Now it's all about taking ownership and making sure that the way you communicate is aligned with your values and targets. It's about designing and expressing your uniqueness, about sharing your stories, about standing out of the gray masses, and you do that your way. You give your best to be authentic and to show what you stand for and stand against. You talk about your values. This is the whole magic of personal branding. And if you think, yeah, but I'm not sure. I heard so many terrible things about personal branding. So this is what personal branding is not. It is not about bragging or showing off or boasting or saying one thing and then doing the other. You need to be consistent, and it's about being a kind human being. It's about showing who you truly are. On top of that, for me, it's important that you are really you. I know so many people, you follow them online and you are inspired, and then again, you meet them for a coffee and it's just like two different people. You definitely want to avoid that. I want you to be consistent in your communication. Personal branding is also not something just for top athletes or rock stars or politicians. It's something for every entrepreneur, every employee, for every line manager, for every MD, CEO, or however you want, whatever title you basically have. Having a lot of followers online does not mean that you have a great personal brand. A great personal brand is about attitude, mindset, performance, and charisma. And all of that can be learned. And it's also not about just wearing something shiny or fancy, Lady Gaga like, love that woman. No, this is part of it, but you are allowed to lead from the inside out. Only then will a personal brand be more powerful and through that also help your employer brand. Okay, let's talk about a win-win situation. So what are the benefits for both parties when we talk about personal branding, respectively employer branding? On the one side, in one column, we have the employer. So people trust people more likely than brands or businesses. I had a look at a few studies. So the studies that I'm quoting here is one a Nielsen study and the other one is from Harvard Business Review. Individuals are trusted 87%, while then businesses is just kind of 13%, which is very interesting. What do we learn? Most probably we could use the profiles of our employees to share our message, right? Companies also who don't invest in their employees or in their employer brand need to pay approximately 10% more. So not having an employer branding or an employee advocacy program could be very expensive for you. Plus, the networks of individuals are approximately 10 times bigger than your company or business account. What do I mean by that? When you post for your LinkedIn company page, fantastic. But when you have, let's say, 5 people, 10 people, 20 people who regularly comment and post through their own profiles, you get so much more visibility. It is insane. And for the employee, what do we have here? We definitely help our top talents, or the ambitious ones, to develop a thought leadership status and more influence. And isn't that what a lot of people want? On top of that, they get their, I call it 5 seconds of fame and more visibility. Again, the right people will love that, will appreciate it, and will do it. On top of that, by telling their stories, by saying what's important to them, by giving a little bit of an insight into their everyday reality, they get more self-confident, and they also increase their self-awareness, which will have a huge, massive positive impact on their performance, on their health, and through that on their productivity, which then has a positive impact for your business as well. I mean, for me, again, it's a no-brainer. It's definitely a win-win situation. If you're still not convinced, a few further shocking facts that I got from a Randstad employer survey in 2020. Grab something, because these numbers are insane. Number 1, 50% of talent would not work for a company with a bad reputation, even if they got a salary increase. Whoo, powerful. Also, 96% say that the compatibility of personal values and the company cultures are a key to happiness at work. So, if you don't talk about your values, or your employees don't talk about your values, I would never apply at your business, because, hey, for me, making sure that you, for example, are into sustainability, or you really care about your employees and about human beings more than profit. If I don't see that in your content, in your communication, I'm not going to apply. So you're missing out on a few incredible individuals out there who are looking for this content, who are browsing for this content, but you're simply not sharing it. 52% of talent look at the web pages and employer, or the social presence of a potential employer. Ooh, again, very interesting. So if you are not active on a platform like LinkedIn, you're missing out. The number one reason why people don't apply is that they don't know what the company, how it's like to work for that company. That is insane, because we can fix this so quickly by investing into an employer branding program, by training our staff, by making sure that we have the clarity, and then encourage others to go out there and be our brand ambassadors. Do you know how much money you are losing? How many incredible people you're not inviting into your life because you're simply not working with LinkedIn? Think about it. And the last number that I found quite shocking that I would like to share with you today is that companies with a strong employer brand hire talent up to 1 to 2 times faster. And we all know that when you have a vacancy and this position is empty, well, nobody can be productive, which means, again, you are losing money. And that is something that we want to avoid if we want to increase our sales and do more good. Okay. Now we talked about the basics, let's move on to LinkedIn. For those of you who are not really convinced of LinkedIn as a tool yet, how do we get started? Let's maybe start with social media, because LinkedIn for me is nothing else than another social media platform. So a Hootsuite study from October 2020 said that 4.14 billion people are using social media, which means more than 50% of the people worldwide. And per year, the annual growth is 12.3%. Just last year, it was something around 11-ish, which means especially now, due to the global situation, more people are online. And if you don't use this tool, again, you're totally missing out. I think, again, these numbers speaking for itself. But why LinkedIn and not Facebook or Instagram? I found this super adorable video that I quickly want to share with you. It doesn't have any tone, but I think it answers the question. Enjoy. Genius, isn't it? I love it. And this, for example, shows us already what LinkedIn stands for. Or think out of the perspective of a potential talent, somebody who wants to apply at LinkedIn. I mean, if you don't like, if you saw this video right now, and you are a person who's very serious, very professional, and thinks that, oh no, a dog is something you should never post on LinkedIn, then you will never apply to work for LinkedIn, which is great because through just that video, LinkedIn filters out those people that don't fit into the company culture. And those people like me, if I wouldn't have my own consulting and speaking business, I would definitely work for LinkedIn because I love their company culture. People like me think, oh my God, this is amazing. They do funny videos. They don't take themselves too seriously while being professional. How adorable is that? How creative is that? Yes, definitely. I mean, maybe in my next life, I will definitely apply if LinkedIn then still exists. Well, that's a philosophical question. So, what do we learn? We talked about business mindset. That's exactly what the ad or the piece of content was talking about, which means people who are on LinkedIn are in a business mindset, not so much like on Instagram where it's all about being so cool, too cool for school. No, it is all about business. It's about relationships. It's about lead gen. It's about building your brand. It's about trends. It's about really making sure that you connect with other people. Another reason why I found LinkedIn is quite powerful is the end user demographics. So the typical LinkedIn user is a little bit, let's say, older and more mature than an Instagram user. And well, if you're looking for talent, I don't know where you live and work, but I assume that you're allowed to hire people starting from the age of 18. So these kind of individuals, you'll definitely find them on LinkedIn. Well, I actually don't know. How old do you have to be to start an Instagram or Facebook account? I think they were playing with the age, weren't they? But that's another side topic. Let's not get sidetracked. Another number or another fact that might be interesting is the fact that LinkedIn at the moment, from a content perspective, is the new Facebook. So you still get a lot of organic reach and visibility without having to pay for ads. And again, if you let your employees go out there, tell their stories, use your amazing program. I heard there's a company out there called Sharebee. They do something really, really intuitive and you can track everything. I've been talking to them. They're pretty cool. So you better check out what they have to offer. So through organic content marketing, this is how you're going to stand out and how to make sure that people start to understand who you are, what you do, why they should work with you or for you, why they should buy your products and services. Also quite interesting, the next fact is that, let me see, I have a little bit of a challenge with the clicker here. You can build up to 30,000 connections on LinkedIn. That's the only platform that allows you to do that using LinkedIn's filters. And also quite interesting, the maturity level on Facebook. We talk about 2.5 billion, while on LinkedIn, 706 million people. So yeah, it's so much easier to stand out. And if you now wonder and ask yourself, but how do I succeed on LinkedIn? Again, I could talk most probably 3 days just about that, but I want to give you a handful of first steps that if you apply them, you're definitely going to make a difference and help your brand, employer brand, be seen. The first step, don't wait or hope or whatever, make it a priority. So you say, yes, we're implementing an employer branding or employee advocacy program. Fantastic. Get an expert on board. So first of all, it's the provider who provides you with the software. And again, there are a few people here that are pretty good at this, but then you also want to hire somebody, maybe an agency or somebody who focuses on the art of storytelling. Maybe you want to implement a help desk. Maybe somebody who will take your staff by the hand and helps them with all of the questions that they have when it comes to what is a hashtag and what are the hater comments and how often do I need to post and what do I do when somebody tagged me and I don't like that person. That is okay. The use of social media for business purposes is relatively, for a lot of people, is a relatively new terrain or a new area. So don't expect everybody, once they have access to a tool to publish content. Start a few steps before that. Then when we have that, we're allowed to optimize all LinkedIn profiles, which means we make sure that your employees or your staff, they adequately represent you, and what they post and not post there is their decision. Their LinkedIn profiles are their profiles. It's not your company page, so you can always inspire them and ask kindly and whatever. But the more you push or the more you force them to do something, ooh, this could go into a total different direction. So all of this is based on trust and of leading and of see it a little bit as a dance. So sometimes you go to the front, sometimes you go to the back. It's a give and take, and that's totally fine. Once we have the profiles optimized, it's sure that the employees expand their network, because when they have tiny networks, not a lot of people are going to see their content. So it's okay. Allow them to expand their networks also during work. Don't expect them to work for you and then in their free time work on their LinkedIn profile. Allow them to do that during work and allow them to spread your awesomeness and become your brand ambassador. Then the big step, build content creators. Give them all the tools they need in order to add value to your audience, to their audience. Because I work with so many companies. At the moment, I work with Deloitte. Before that, I worked with Hellman Logistics. So I work with groups of 10 people, 15 people, 20 people. And there were always 2 or 3 individuals who absolutely loved it, who went crazy and talked about all the things that are important to them. And all of them, without any exception, said that potential talent approached them and said, oh, I really like what you do. I actually want to know, do you have any vacancies at the moment? Or is it really true that when I work for a blank that you get so-and-so? This is brilliant. This is exactly what you want. I guess so, at least. That's what I would want if I would be a big brand that wants to improve their visibility and attract new, incredible people into my life. Also, allow your staff to comment strategically and join discussions, yes, during work time, and also to collaborate, to support each other. Maybe you start with a campaign with a specific hashtag and encourage them to tell their stories. I see you as the leading force that regularly checks in and is a place where your employees or your staff can always go back to in case they have any questions. And again, you tell them what you'd appreciate, what you'd like, but respect the fact that they might also do something totally different. And as long as it's kind and it's positive, nobody should have anything against that. And then the last point, gamify the process and reward top performers. This is something that will change the game for you. If you have a storyboard or a scoreboard where I see, oh, the person with the biggest amount of likes or with the biggest engagement, this will make a big difference. As far as I know, certain employee advocacy programs have that inbuilt, so you can see all of the data and stats. Maybe the best performer will get a voucher for a dinner with their whole family, or maybe a meeting with the boss, whatever it is. So yeah, that's everything from my side. If you enjoyed this presentation, if you want to make sure that you get the slides, send me a short email to action@ThinkNatalia.com. And if we are not connected on social yet, there you go. Of course, you're going to find me on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and on YouTube. So fingers crossed, and talk very soon.